I'm Kristen Andre, founder and chief strategist of Andre Consulting Group. I founded my company almost 10 years ago because I love helping people not only succeed, but thrive in their careers and their lives. So many times I meet amazing people who have so much more potential than what they're utilizing. As I engage with them, there seems to be a common theme: the limits they place on themselves. Throughout this podcast series, we're going to visit some incredible people who have created more intentional lives for themselves, those who've had that no limits moment where they chose to grow and they put things in motion to help them do so. We will focus on how you can break through limits. We will equip you with strategies to help you lead a more intentional life, and we will have a lot of fun along the way. So let's dive in. Hello, everyone, and welcome to No Limits with Kristen Andre. We are here today with Laura Kronen of Be You Only Better and her newest venture, Super Cool Homeschool. So very excited to have you here.
I'm happy to be here.
Thank you for being here. All right, so a couple things. I'll let you give your bio, but here's why I thought you were perfect for the No Limit show. So Laura and I are friends. We know each other through our kids. But one thing that's always impressed me is you do a lot of stuff. I mean, you're like a tennis rock star, which I cannot even serve the ball in the whatever square you're supposed to do. So you're doing all these, so you're doing all this stuff. You're homeschooling your kids. You've got a successful coaching practice. And lo and behold, I find out after a while, you're also type 1 diabetic.
I am, 25 years.
25 years. So published author, we'll talk about that in a bit. But it's just, that's a lot of things for a normal person to do. Not that you're not normal, but for a normal person to do.
Wait a second.
Yeah, you're accomplishing a lot, but you're doing it with that's a pretty big illness.
Yeah, it is. I mean, anybody with diabetes, type 1 or type 2, knows that it is a very manageable disease, but it takes 24/7 in order to manage it.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about, first of all, tell us about what you do, because I know you work a lot and do a lot of volunteer work in the diabetic community. So tell us about you and your business first.
Okay, well, if we start with my Be You Only Better company, it's a life coaching company. It's been for about 10 years now that I've been doing that capacity of work.
Okay.
And I mainly work with people. I work with 3 different genres of people. One is with entrepreneurs trying to start their own business, and I help them from soup to nuts, everything that they need to do in order to begin a company.
Right.
I also help people have self-esteem and self-confidence issues.
Okay.
And then lastly, I work with a lot of diabetics, people who they might be non-compliant, they might be people who can't manage physically or emotionally, mentally, because it affects so many aspects of your life, and I help them to manage their diabetes better in all of those ways.
So you were diagnosed for type 1. You were diagnosed. I think it's kind of late because you were 20. Is that right?
I was 20. Oh, I'm going to give away my age.
I know. Nobody here can do math. No one listening, do the math.
Okay. So. Yes, it's been a long time, but
you weren't a child. You weren't.
No,
a young
I wasn't a child. But the truth is that people are diagnosed with type 1 very late in life now. They didn't used to. It used to be called juvenile diabetes.
Right.
And they changed the name of it to type 1 and type 2 because truthfully, the difference is if you're insulin dependent, you're type 1. That's what it comes down to.
And type 2 is more dietary.
Type 2 is managed with different types of oral medications, and also, many times if you control your diet, you'll be able to eliminate or at least greatly reduce the effects of diabetes on your body. So
when you were first diagnosed, how did that affect your life? Because I think for a lot of people listening, whether it's diabetes or whatever, physical disability they may have, because it really is. I mean, it limits a lot of what you do.
Well,
how did it change?
It does and it doesn't. It does if you let it.
If you let it, right. And that's what I think is so cool about you, because, I think that's how I first realized you were diabetic, because you were, I don't know, puffing on insulin or shooting something up, and you're like, what is this woman doing over in the corner here?
Sticking needles in.
Yeah.
So how does it impact my life? Okay. So in many ways, you need to always know what your blood sugar is, right? So no matter what I do, whether I get in a car, whether I'm sitting here with you today, anything that I might be doing, I need to know what my blood sugar is before I do that, because either I could have a low and have a real big problem and pass out, or I could be going high and the effects of that are really bad. So there's so many different things in life that I need to do to make sure just that part, knowing what your blood sugar is. And then there's okay, now I know what my blood sugar is. How do I treat it?
Right.
If I'm low, I need to have some juice. If I'm high, I need to take insulin. And then it's just a balancing act. It's a roller coaster all day long to manage,
to pay
the
attention
disease.
to it.
Yeah.
So how many people that of your clients in that genre that you work with, of the diabetics, how many people do you feel, or even with other illnesses, how many people do you feel let it limit their life? Because I feel like it'd be easy for you to go, I can't do that.
A lot of people use this as an excuse.
Right.
And that's the one thing that I said from the day I got this, that I was never going to let it be an excuse for me. I was never going to let it get the best of me.
Right.
And I haven't. And that's what I try to share with my clients and with people anybody who's dealing with any type of disease, whether it be an autoimmune disease or anything else. It's saying that you're not going to let this impact who you are and what you can accomplish in your life.
And I feel like so many people do that. That's why I like your story so much, is that sometimes when we talk about no limits, sometimes there are limits we put on ourselves, and sometimes there are limits that we had no control over. So you didn't have any control over the fact
that I got it,
that you got diabetes. You were just one out of however many.
Yeah.
And so you could have chosen to say, I don't want to play tennis.
Right.
I don't want to do this. I don't want, I'm tired. I'm this, I'm that. But you didn't. So what's the mindset kind of behind, for anybody listening that's really like, yeah, I'm not feeling it?
Well, I think it's looking at what you want to accomplish in life. I mean, you have to have goals first before you say that something isn't going to come within your way of accomplishing it. And like you just brought up tennis, and that's something that I started later in life. I wish I started earlier, because like that is my one regret.
Starting tennis early.
I wanted to be a pro. I should be playing with Serena. No, definitely not that good. But I think that when you set out to do something and you're putting your all into it, you're going to have different obstacles that come your way, whether it's a disease, whether it's sickness, whether it's kids that are impacting something you do, whether it's your job. There's going to be different things that are going to come in between you and what you want to accomplish, but it's just a matter of making it a priority and
going after it,
focusing on it, and not letting anything stop you.
So that's cool. I mean, with your work that you're doing with the Be You Only Better, it's really figuring out who you are and upping it, getting better, pushing through limits, which is a lot of what we talk about on here.
Right. It's you say figuring out who you are, and that's the whole authentic self thing.
Yeah.
That's being true to who you are, exactly. Letting people know this is who I am, and look, everybody knows when I go out and play tennis, all my friends know I'm diabetic, and sometimes I'm sitting there. I wear this thing on my arm that's right there.
Yeah. For everybody watching on live stream, you can see it right here. Nice little circle.
It's called a continuous glucose monitor, a CGM, and it monitors my blood sugar all the time. And when I was playing tennis one time, it flew out of my arm, so I had absolutely no way to monitor my blood sugar while I was playing, and it just so happened my blood sugar was super high when I was playing when it fell out, and I had just taken a ton of insulin. I had no idea what my blood sugar was doing, and this was a match going towards, we were in semifinals, and I was just said, you know what, I don't care. I'm just focusing on what I'm doing, and I told somebody, I said, I might pass out. If I do, there is a shot in my bag. And someone said, I'm a nurse. I know how to do it.
Oh,
someone
my
on
gosh.
another court. And I said, great. I'm going to continue what I'm doing. And if something happens, you know what to do. That's how much. People are like, you're just...
But that's dedication to the sport. I mean, because
dedication to myself.
It is. It is to yourself. Because I would have been like, because somebody pick that up and put this back in my arm.
Oh, it doesn't go back in your arm.
Yeah, it doesn't. Well, that's right.
That way.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know how. But it is kind of, it's cool because you're able to do all these things. And I think a lot of that is medical advances, because used to be you'd prick your finger, you did all that.
Right.
And the thing's pretty cool because I've seen the app that goes with it, and it'll show you your little ups and downs of the blood sugar. And it's amazing what the advances in medicine have done to allow people to lead more active lifestyles.
Technology is amazing, and that has made people living with diabetes made their life a lot easier to manage. So I mean, but I will try the first new thing that comes out. Every time something new comes out, I'm like, I'll take that. I'll try it. I'll be your guinea pig.
Yeah,
like,
so
I'll do anything.
Everyone needs a test case here for research.
I am. I'm the lab rat. So.
Yeah, but that's okay, because it just means that you're pushing people and pushing the limits and trying to get people to move forward with finding a cure.
Exactly.
Now, you in the diabetes community, and we won't focus on this the whole time, but you volunteer. You're on the board, correct?
I'm on the board of directors of JDRF in Atlanta. Yep. And yes, we raise money, and we have tons of events and tons of different things throughout the community that we do all year long in order to raise money. And we raise a lot of money for diabetes, and this is replicated in different states, every state, all throughout the United States and then all throughout the world as well. So
it's cool. And I
still don't have a cure yet, though. Just saying.
Yeah, there's no cure. So keep going to these events.
Keep giving your money.
Keep giving money.
I'll put the link after the end of the show.
We will put the link at the end. Yes, we could do that. But I mean, JDRF is it's a large organization. But
yes.
I mean, whatever you're passionate about or wherever you're giving money to and want to see things happen, it's a matter of getting involved. And I think that's what's beautiful about what you're doing is not just with your clients that you're working with, but with the community as a whole, you're getting involved.
Well, yeah, I think Mark said it on the show, right? Be the change you wish to see.
Be the change you wish to see.
It's true. If you can't just sit there and talk about it, you need to do it. You need to be part of it. You need to lead the way.
Now, all right, so I'm gonna pivot a little bit. Leading the way, your kids do volunteer work with you because I've seen little pictures you guys post at all the events. So how have you gotten your family involved?
Well, my kids are my one son. Both of my sons, there's nothing more that they want than a cure for diabetes. In fact, when we used to go see Santa Claus, that was the first thing they asked him for every time.
How cute is that?
And Santa's always like, every time. And Brett will still say it. Brett will still say, we make a wish at 111, 1111, everything. He's like, Mom, I wish for a cure for diabetes. They know how much it impacts me, and they know what I struggle with, and people don't see what I struggle with, but I have something occur, I take care of it, and I move on. I don't sit there and dwell on it and spend time on it, but they see it, and they're very intimate with it. Because I think if people just
saw you out and about, you wouldn't really, no one's going to know. I mean, it's an invisible illness. You don't know what it is. It's an
invisible illness, and truthfully, I'm an adult with it, so I hate to put it this way, but people don't care as much because it's not a kid.
No one else is having to manage it but you. I mean, the kids are dealing.
Yeah, but kids you have a little bit more sympathy for because you're like, I hate that they have to struggle with it. And trust me, I hate that they have to struggle with it because I know what it's like, and I know being a kid with it is, really terrible.
It's tough,
but on the same token, we have the same exact disease.
Yep.
So we have the same exact struggles every single day.
So how do you get kids involved, whether it's kids fighting the disease or like your children?
JDRF does have a large community of people with children that have diabetes. So naturally, it's an environment that is kid-friendly for these things. So my kids are always really active in trying to raise money with me, a long times when we're doing it for our walk, which is coming up in October. And they're really into it, because they really want to see a cure. But I also think, not just with diabetes, but just volunteering in general, I think it's such an important thing to do. And it's really a part of who I am and who my children are. I mean, my one son volunteers at a senior citizen center, and he does that every week. And he's volunteered to help make the community better and do a lot of things. So, and I that's something I encourage.
And I feel like I love that because we get so busy. A lot of times on the show we talk about how busy everyone is and how full their schedules are. And the volunteer work and the giving back is a lot of times what I think kind of starts to slip a little bit. Everybody gets busy, and you just say, I'd love to do that. That's a great thing. Or we throw money at the problem, and then not that that's a bad thing. We need to keep throwing money at the problem, but at the same time, we also need to create awareness and let people do things that actually give back. So.
Well, awareness is a huge part of it, and that's why I'm really active on social media as well, as far as spreading the word about diabetes and letting people know about all this new type of technology that I use and that I learn about. So,
and it's really cool. And then if you guys haven't, we're going to take a short break in a second, but if you haven't checked out, you can look it up. It's on Amazon. Tell us the name of your book because it's the coolest name.
Too Sweet, the Not So Serious Side to Diabetes.
So I saw the cover of it's fantastic. So you guys have to go to Amazon and find this book. But it really talks about, we take things so seriously, and you kind of have to look at it like, this is not something that we need to lighten up and just deal with it and move forward.
Well, the reason I wrote the book is that a majority of the information out there was talking about the doom and gloom having to do with diabetes and the side effects and the consequences and what was going to happen to you from it. And it wasn't talking about what it was like to actually live with it every day. And, that goes from the serious stuff to the funny stuff. But there's so many funny stories that I have that people with diabetes, with a child with diabetes, or know somebody with diabetes can completely relate to and actually just be entertained by.
And that's what we need to make sure that we're not always taking ourselves so seriously. So we're going to take a short break. And after the break, we're going to talk a little bit more with Laura Kronen about all the other ventures she has going on and some of the great stuff that you might be able to take from that. We'll be back in just a few. Hey Hey everyone, it's Kristen. Be sure and visit my website at www.andregroup.com. That's www.andree group.com. And while you're there, be sure to download my white paper, Top 10 Reasons Your Business Isn't Growing Fast Enough. Now get out there and create your no limits moment. Welcome back, everyone, to No Limits with Kristen Andre. We are here of. I can't talk today. Yeah, maybe my sugar's dropping. We're here
I
with
have some juice if you need
exactly. We're here with Laura Kronen of Be You Only Better, and also recently launched Super Cool Homeschool. And before the break, we were talking about circumstances and overcoming things that may be out of our control. And I think one of the things you shared that you kind of learn is, regardless of whatever's thrown at you, you can do it. I can handle anything.
Absolutely. I think diabetes has taught me that. That is like the number one lesson that's come from that. If I can overcome what I have to deal with every single day, I can do absolutely anything I set my mind to.
So let's pivot a little bit, because we've spent some time talking about diabetes and overcoming that, and I know that affects a lot of people, but translating kind of that overcome mentality to the rest of your life. So you recently launched Super Cool Homeschool.
Right.
And that was after, since I know you, I know that you've been homeschooling for a year. This is your second year. Right now, yes. Second year. I keep teasing I'm going to send my kids to the Kronen Academy of Arts and Sciences.
It's a fun school.
But it's been cool to watch what you're doing with it, but you've learned a lot over the year. But what I thought was the neatest was you started it because there was something that wasn't the way you thought it should be and wasn't the way you wanted it. And you're like, I can make this better.
That's exactly what happened. I went to public school my whole life. I loved it. It was like the best thing in the whole world. Like I couldn't wait to go back to school. But my kids didn't have that same type of mentality to school, as that they were like, couldn't wait to go. And because there were so many restrictions, things are different than when we were growing up as far as school goes. And they used to ask me to homeschool them all the time, and I used to laugh at them because I had the same stereotypical images of homeschool that most people have, that I didn't think it was going to be something that I...
Or you worry about the time, because I'm sitting here like you. I've got a busy business and a practice.
I don't know how I find time, but I think you can make time. Like busy people can make more time. I always say that. Yeah. So, but yeah, we there were some things that I just wasn't happy with within the public school system, and neither were my kids. And one day there was just a catalyst that sent me into saying that, yes, now we're going to homeschool. I will take this shot with you guys. And I put my intent to homeschool in and just sort of winged it. And my kids did so amazingly well last year that I just can't imagine that I would ever send them back to school again. They don't want to go. So it's and they are bright. They are very bright boys. They're very, very bright boys. Right. They are. I can't deny that. But they experience a lot of different things. I take them to a bunch of different places to experience a lot of things. They read a lot. They watch a lot of videos on just different interesting things, that really broadens how they think. And
I think what's really interesting, I have a couple other girlfriends that homeschool, and I don't. It's I gotta look at it. I think I'd be a terrible teacher is the problem. I was fortunate enough to have great teachers growing up, and I have two that I'm still very close with on Facebook. So shout out to Miss Gear and Miss Ball, who I know listen. So, but it's different. I've even had conversations with them that it's not the same as it was when we went to school.
It's not the same.
Kids aren't getting the experiences we had.
They aren't, because children cannot, the children kind of rule the teachers now. And it's a different environment than we used to be in. Teachers are scared to say things to people. It's just, it's a different type of learning environment than it used to be. And sometimes the teachers don't have control over what's happening in their classrooms anymore. So
what I think is interesting is of my friends at homeschool, and I watch, a lot of them do a lot of social media and post and things like that. And it's the experiences that the kids get to have when they're not sitting in a classroom all day. And it's, and this is not, the teachers in public schools today are great. It's not the teachers.
No doubt.
It's definitely not the teachers.
It's not the teachers. It's their regulations.
Exactly.
It's not them as a person. It's what they can and can't do according to the rules.
So when you saw a system that's broken, or same thing, we had a guest on recently Stacia that was talking about the court system and how that's broken, and we've got the school system. A lot of systems are broken. And instead of sitting back and saying, broken, that's what it is.
It's the way it is. Everybody else does it. Right.
Yeah. So what are you doing with your super cool homeschool? Because it sounds like you're trying to help other moms that are looking at this.
For starters, I'm trying to break the stereotypical image that everybody has about homeschooling.
Right.
By sort of playing into it and making it these entertaining videos that show that, look, am I what you think homeschooling is?
Right.
Are my kids what you think homeschooling is? It's not. It's just people that are taking a different approach to learning now and having no limits on what you're learning. So instead of having to teach to a test, which is one of the things that's happening in school now, I can teach to learn. I can teach to experience. I can teach for them to go further if they're interested in something than just stopping at what they learned. Well, that was interesting to you. Okay, well then let's look further and let's examine this more, and let's maybe visit something that's going to give you more information. Or is that great? Yeah, you want to do a project on that? Let's see, what can you do that can help you to learn more about that particular subject.
And they've been able to have in the last year at least a lot of great experiences.
Oh yeah.
They travel, and I know my other friends that homeschool, they do a lot of travel, a lot of museum, and they have other friends that homeschool as well. Because the one pushback I always hear about, it's the socialization. They're missing the socialization piece. But
that's my last video.
My friends that I know that do homeschool, their kids socialize a lot. They still have activities.
My kids are too social, I think. Yeah, we're always doing something. And yeah, we do travel. And that is one of the beautiful things about homeschooling, is that you don't have to adhere to a calendar, that your kid has to be there every single day. And if you go to a foreign country, that's a learning experience. Right. You're learning the language, you're seeing the culture, you're experiencing different types of foods, things that you can't read in lieu of experience.
Right.
It doesn't happen. So I take them to lots of different things, to experience lots of different places, and everything is a learning experience. Like we go to Shakespeare plays, like things that you just wouldn't be doing in school for your 1 or 2 field trips a year. We're doing like 1 a week pretty much to learn about something different.
Which is fantastic. All right. So for those of us listening that don't homeschool, how can we take some of this stuff that you're doing? Because I keep hearing experience. I mean, what can we do as non-homeschooling parents to kind of make sure that to make sure our kids get that? Because that's the well-rounded piece. I don't know that all of the rest of our kids have.
Well, the number one thing I think with homeschooling is that it's based around the family. Right.
Okay.
So family is super important. And I think that that's another thing through the school systems that's kind of falling by the wayside, is the importance of family. So spending time together with your family is one of the most important things that you could do, regardless of what you're doing. So if you're to get on a weekend at nights watching some sort of documentary or something that's interesting to them, it doesn't have to be something that's boring. I mean, it's something that they have a passion for, they're interested in. Or you have your weekends in order to help your child experience other things that they might be interested in, a path that they might want to go down.
And I think the family, I hadn't really thought about it till you said it, but the family dynamic is interesting, because if I think about my own girls, I have 3 girls and they're in different schools. I mean, I have elementary school, middle school, and college. So they don't overlap. They're not always, they're on different schools, different buses, different schedules. So the family time suffers a lot because just by happenstance.
You're absolutely right. And both of my kids are learning Spanish together. I mean, that's even time that we spend together. When we're in the car, we talk about Spanish, and sit there and I quiz them as we're going along. We're going to Spain, so I have to.
That's good though.
But
I mean, seriously, if you're going to learn Spanish and then your teacher is saying, by the way, we're going to go to Spain, then I'd be learning Spanish.
Yeah, you have a little incentive. I mean, look, not everybody could do that, and that's something that that I work from home and my husband works from home, so we are able to do those kind of experiences and make our own schedules.
And your kids are not in elementary school; they're a little bit older. Right. You don't have a 5-year-old running around.
No, I don't have a 5-year-old running around. But I still did things with them when they were young, and I feel like that's important too, because you're not treating them like they're a child that can't understand something. It's like always giving your kid chicken fingers. It's like, no, you need to let them experience different food in order to have
fish sticks instead of just chicken. No, I'm just playing. I'm joking, but not really. I agree with you, because I feel like we're in a convenient society, and what I love is the fact that you took something that you looked at and it's like, this is broken. This is not fitting what I know it can be and what it should be, and you created your own reality, right? You created your own scenario.
And look, I'm not going to lie and say, oh, it's easy as a piece of cake, no big deal. It's hard.
Oh, I'm sure.
It's hard. And
in
fact, we just started school yesterday, and the beginning of the year, last year, I was very stressed out because it's coming up with all your resources again, coming up with the different programs and different, things that they're using, workbooks and things, and trying to get it all straight in your head. If you think about it, I have 2 kids. I'm doing 15 subjects. There's people that have 4 kids or 5 kids.
Yeah, one of my friends has 5 kids that homeschools.
Yeah, one of them has 10.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Yeah. It's a lot.
You know who they are. So I mean, it's a lot of work. It is, but it's worth it. I think for the times that it's hard and the times that we might struggle a little bit, I think that everything has been completely worth it.
But is anything that we do that's worth it and important ever easy? I mean, usually there's not a whole lot that
nothing worth
easy.
having comes easy.
Right. So I love the fact that you were able to kind of take it and craft it into what you want it to be. I like the takeaways of the experience and the family time too, though, because that's something that all of us listening can really start to do ourselves.
Right. Because, driving your kids back and forth to sports, but not actually doing the sports with them, right?
Right.
Where is the time that you're spending with your child? You're doing all this for them, which is great.
I was doing karate with my one.
I know.
As you know, I tried to talk you into doing it, and you said, no.
I got tennis. I only need one sport. I don't have that much time on my hands, okay? I don't have any time.
But it is, you're right. It's having an experience with them as opposed to just dropping them off and not being a shuttle service.
Right. And, a karate, that's a good example, though, of something, because every karate, I didn't do karate, but my son did, and I was there every single time.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, I still got to engage with him in a way in that experience.
Cheer him on and experience it with him.
That was a good family
Absolutely. So we're going to take another short break. And when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about what you can do and those of you guys listening can do to push past those limits that you may be having right in front of you. We'll be back in a minute. Hey everyone, check out my podcast, No Limits with Kristen Andre, on Tuesday nights at 7:30. We will tackle the things holding you back and the limits you set on yourself and equip you with some strategies to lead more intentional lives. Podcast launches every Tuesday at 7:30 p.m. on facebook.com/Andre Group. That's facebook.com/ANDREE Group. We'll see you there. Welcome back, everyone, to No Limits with Kristen Andre. We are wrapping up our time with Laura Kronen of Be You Only Better and Super Cool Homeschool. So before we went to break, we were talking about how important family is and how important having experiences are. And, one of the things we do in every show, at the end of every show, is we issue a challenge to our listeners. Mm-hmm. And we created a Facebook page. It's #NoLimitsMoment. And we invite people to come there and share what they did. So we're going to challenge everybody, because I don't want people just to listen to, all these cool guests that I have on and then just walk away and go, that was great. They got a takeaway. So let's dive into this experience and thing, because we were talking a little bit about there's so many things that we want to do and we want to experience, but we're kind of, for whatever reason, people just go, they don't want it.
Well, everyone, when you're not accomplishing something that you have in your head, what are your bucket list thing or something like that, it's because you are having an excuse as to why you're not doing it.
Right.
So it's stripping away the excuses and figuring out what it is that you really want to do and letting nothing stop you.
Yeah. So I think, what's important for people to take away is, first of all, you got to figure out what it is you really want to do.
Right.
And is it something that's important to you? Because if it's important to you, you'll strip the excuses away and you'll do it.
You need to want it bad enough in order to do that.
So it's kind of like, it's the weight loss analogy. You gotta want, I was trying to think, I saw a magnet one time on a fridge. I think it was my dad's house, and it said something like, nothing tastes as good as being
feels.
Being thin feels.
I say nothing tastes as good as wine or cupcakes.
I like that better. Yeah. So, it's true, because a lot of times, everybody, not everybody, but a lot of people say, oh, I'm going to lose 10 pounds. I want to lose 10 pounds. And they never do, because truthfully, it's more fun to go have some pasta and a glass of wine.
Or go out for Mexican.
Which is a big thing in the Andre girls' household.
Mine too.
I think my kids could eat Mexican 5 times a week. But, when we look at that and what we really want to accomplish, it is stripping away the excuses and figuring out, first and foremost, what do we really want to go after? But then making sure that if it's something we want to do, or if it's something we want to experience, how are we doing it? What are we doing? I mean, what are you setting in motion to be able to do that? So what advice do you have for our listeners to kind of do that, to strip away the excuses and just to go after something?
Well, I would first, like you said, come up, what is it that you really want? Focus on one goal at a time, right? And then make a list of what is actually stopping you from achieving that goal. And then work on each one of those points to go on. So if you say, okay, we'll use the example of that you want to lose 10 pounds, right? That could be a lot.
I think for half of the listeners out there, write this down, because this is probably your goal.
Well, there's so many, but yeah, so you want to lose 10 pounds. Okay, do you really want to lose 10 pounds? Or are you kind of okay with the way that you are? If you're kind of okay with the way you are, you're not going to lose the 10 pounds.
And stay the way you are.
Don't bother. But if you really want to do it, then what's standing in your way? Is it the fact that you don't have time to exercise? Is it the fact that your
kitchen's full of bad stuff?
That you go out for fast food often? Is it the fact that you have 2 glasses of wine every night? You don't really have to stop that.
Yeah, you don't stop that. I'm opposed to stopping
That's like
that.
sanity. But no, you just make a list of what is it that's standing in your way, and then see how you could remove those things. So if you're saying you don't have time to work out, well, that's not true, because everyone has the time to work out.
Time.
Get up an hour earlier.
Right.
And you have time to work out. You just found an hour in your day.
Exactly.
And it's hard in the beginning, but then when you start to change your mindset and you really start to get into it,
and
it starts
create a
becoming
routine
something
around
that you
it,
want to do rather than something that you're being forced to do.
So whatever it is, whether it's something you want to do, like a goal, like lose 10 pounds, it could be...
Or learn to play a sport.
Yeah. My new one, I think I shared with you during the break, I've always wanted to go to Italy. I've never been to Italy. I don't want to go and be a tourist and feel lost. So I'm learning Italian.
That's amazing.
And my kids think it's hysterical, because I understand a little Spanish. I understand a little Spanish and can speak it, but my Southern accent gets worse when I speak Spanish. And my kids think they're like, Mom, just stop. But the Italian I'm getting, like I'm really...
Go to Southern Italy.
I'm loving it, because you get to speak with your hands, which for me is fantastic. But it's kind of what it was. It was like, when I was going through, I'm going to learn Italian. And then it was like, well, wait a minute, when am I going to do this? Right. And am I going to have time? And where am I going to fit it? And what resources do I need to do this? And once I researched the resources, figured out how I could learn what school and method I wanted to use to learn, then it was a matter of scheduling. And now I've only been doing this 2 weeks, but it is a daily practice now. And I'm having so much fun with it. But it was just an experience that I was like, okay, I had to break down what was standing in my way from doing that.
Standing in your way, and just alter what it is that you're doing in order to make it happen. So whether that's finding more time in your day, whether that's putting the podcast or whatever on the car to teach you Italian while you're in the car, if that's the only time you have to listen to it.
A lot of my lessons are in the car. I look a little silly, but it works. It works.
Everybody looks like they're talking to themselves when they're in the car. So
exactly. Well, it's like you said, if you want it bad enough, you're going to go after it. And I feel like, one of what I appreciate about you is that you've got things that you could use as excuses, but you haven't. Whether it was, the diabetes, or whether it was, the way the system wasn't working for your family and your kids with school, you're like, that's not how I want it to be. I'm gonna push through it.
Right.
Yeah.
And to try to be the best that you can be in doing it. I was just thinking as you were going through, like, what are things that people want to do? I mean, maybe you want to learn how to paint.
Absolutely.
There's so many things that people are like, oh, I wish I did this, or I wish I did that, or so stop wishing and start making a plan of how you're going to make it happen.
I think that's perfect. So that is the challenge to you guys this week on No Limits. We want you to come up with what you want to do, what you want to experience. Write down those things that you feel are standing in your way, those limits that shouldn't really be there. Push past them, and go to our Facebook page at #NoLimitsMoment. Share your experiences. Let us know what you're doing so we can cheer you on, because we're all in this together. So until next time, keep pushing past those limits. Laura Kronen, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
And we will see you guys next week.